Hi Varun.
Hi, Darun.
So, can you tell me about a time when you had to optimize the performance of a complex SQL query in production environment? And also, what approach did you take and what was the outcome of it?
Certainly. So there was a key reporting query for sales data that was taking over 30 minutes to get executed. This would relate to a huge delay on the client side and on the user side. It would also relate to problems with the data consistency and the data accuracy being breached. We were also susceptible to SQL injection attacks. As is often the case with my problem solving protocol, I try to look at a problem from three different perspectives. That is the past, what has been done to solve and code the problem in the past, and the present and the future. I try to relate the past problem and take useful pieces of information and code from the past and code it into the present. And I also try to code the present products and services in a way which is incrementally sustainable and programmable in the near future. And upon doing that, I identified a few problems. I identified a few bottlenecks. The biggest one was that the schema that was designed for our queries for our SQL database was not done optimizing and keeping in mind our industry and our company's data flow processes. And upon identifying this, I had to pick only strictly extremely important queries and data flow structures from SQL that was run previously. And then I had to more or less basically repurpose and program from the starting, keeping in mind our current business flows, how the data flows between us, our third party vendors in different teams, and then to the client. Keeping all of this in mind, I created a new database schema. I wrote new queries, and I was able to bring the time down from 30 minutes to 3 minutes. I also ensured there was better data security so that we were not susceptible to any kind of SQL injection attacks. And both of these things combined automatically ensured that the data integrity and data consistency was not being breached anymore. Thank you.
Can you describe a situation where you had to mentor a junior developer in a team to implement database design best practices? And also, how did you ensure they understood and applied these principles?
Certainly. So, in my previous company, I was working as a JavaScript developer, and I was the sole point of contact between the JavaScript team as well as the database team. We were given a junior resource to help us with our work. Now, the junior's resource was adept in understanding JavaScript, but he was not so good at understanding how database and schemas worked, especially because he did not understand our business process. There is a very certain way that data flows from the clients to us and from our company to our third party vendors. They sanitize and process that data and return it to us. After the data has come back to us, we use our algorithms to process the data and send it back to the clients. This is something that the junior developer did not understand specifically for our industry. To target the problem, I ensured that I had to make sure that this developer understands the business process as well as understands how to write these schemas and normalize data. For rectifying this problem, I called a few one-on-one sessions with this developer, and this developer and I ensured that we sat down and we went through every subtlety of the business process. And once we understood the business process, then we sat down and I explained to him how the business process works with our bespoke algorithms. Upon understanding all of that, I then wrote a high level graphical interpretation of how the schema would look like and explained him how it flows. Once he understood the flow of data for our business processes as well as the high level schema that I had created, he started writing queries. Upon understanding how to write queries and understanding how things work, how data flows within the industry and the database, both he and I could come up with a seamless database which had queries written which were extremely fast and did not put our data accuracy or data consistency in a breached state. Thanks.
That's good to hear. And can you imagine you are tasked with integrating a new business logic into an existing data pipeline, but the data transformations required could potentially disrupt your existing workforce. So how would you approach this situation and how would you overcome these challenges?
Right, certainly. So, in my previous company, I was working with a client that had given us certain goals throughout the sprint, throughout the project, and by the time we had reached 75% of the scope of the project, they came to us with a new guideline and new requirements. They basically wanted retargeting marketing data of customer preferences through the CTR, which is the click-through rate, and they wanted it amalgamated within the same requirements that they had given us before. Now I had a choice to make. I could either go back to them and tell them that it would be done without being sure of it, or I could have a meeting with the stakeholders and figure out exactly how long it will take, be transparent, and try and push my team to their fair limits to get the job done. What I did was I had a quick meeting with the stakeholders from the client side as well as the customer side, and I made sure that all the stakeholders were talking about what they required like what the developers wanted in terms of time, what resources they wanted, what the client wanted in terms of their exact actual requirements, whether or not these requirements might or might not change yet again. After having all of that clarity, I went back and sat down with my developers, and once I sat down with them, we started jotting down what had already been achieved and what remained to be achieved. We created a different test environment, and in this test environment, we found a place to attach the new requirements, and these new requirements would be plug and play, meaning it would not affect the other solutions that we had already created for these guys. I went back to the stakeholders. I told them that Sprint 1 will be delivered as is, considering the same scope that we were given, and we would follow up with a quick Sprint 2 much earlier than the actual Sprint 2 was intended to be delivered with their new requirement. And this new requirement was also handed to them within their time frame. This saved them a lot of money. This saved us a lot of time and resources. And overall, it was a win-win situation for us as well as the clients. Thank you.
Thank you.